Greetings, Internet, and welcome to episode number 151 of the Comic Watchers Show. I'm your host, Matt Meyer. With me, as always, back from a brief vacation. Say hi to mighty Mike Akins. He's back. He's bearded. He's fabulous.
I am. Past couple days, past couple weeks, I've been hanging out with those crazy kids from TikTok, the Island Boys.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Listen, the Island Boys are the
those
new.
Are my dudes.
They're the new hotness, and just like everything on TikTok, I don't understand it, but I can't look away from it.
No, you can't.
So, I mean, look, there's a crazy person that I was reading about just yesterday who is positing that the Roman Empire isn't real.
Yeah, I saw that. It's awesome.
And, like, tens of thousands of people are following this lunatic.
Yeah.
And that's like right out there with flat earthers. And I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I just feel like we as humanity as a species are doomed if this is the direction we're going in. But at least until then, we can make ludicrous podcasts. So it's kind of been an interesting week for news, and thank goodness you're back, because where would we be in the news without the news of the world today with Scoop Johnson? Scoop. Tom Taylor had some big news today.
Yeah. No, announced that he signed an exclusive deal with DC. Which
do we know the details of
I've been hanging out on his Twitter, kind of semi-stalking him. Don't tell him, though.
Well,
let me see if we can pull
up. He's in Australia. I don't think you're going to get him, at least not very easily.
But really, he just tweeted out, it's a simple sentence, that he's excited to announce he signed an exclusive contract with DC Comics and can't wait to share everything we have planned for the future. Which I'm stoked with, Tom. I think it was Cody that said earlier, I mean, he's pretty much probably one of the best, if not the best writer.
Oh, yeah. Top three writers right now.
I mean, is there some selfishness in there? Possibly, but
I don't know.
If you're DC, I mean, if you have a chance to buy a Maserati, are you going to buy, a Honda Civic? Or are you going to buy a Maserati? You're going to buy a Maserati. So why not? So I don't blame
you. Here's the thing: like, exclusive contracts just don't fall off trees anymore, right?
Right.
Like, it's almost always work for hire because it's cheaper for the publishers, right? It just is what it is. I think the last high-profile exclusive at DC was Bendis.
Yep.
And that sort of has quietly petered out, and he's moved his Jinx World over to Dark Horse, and he's on Justice League, but I mean, nobody's really talking about it. DC's not really hyping it. He's got this Justice League versus Legion of Superheroes thing that starts in January. But I mean, other than that, he seemed to just be kind of quietly backing out the door. And that's a whole nother conversation. But Tom Taylor is really a golden goose right now. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're DC, you got this dude, he's writing, what is he writing? 3 or 4 other books right now? 3? Superman, Dark Knights of Camelot or whatever it's called. I just totally botched that. Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
It's not like this is live on the internet.
It's not like it's live. It's not like the entire internet is judging us.
Yeah, you're
or
good.
Anything. But he's got out over there at Boom, he's got 7 Secrets, and then of course Dark Ages at Marvel, which was in the can basically before pandemic. So I mean, he is done with that, right?
Sure,
Other than collecting his paychecks. Yes, Dark Knights of Steel. Thank you, Chad, for catching me. Chad Burdett, everybody, of Comic Watch,
fan of the show.
Yes, he's a scholar and a gentleman, and he keeps me on point. But if you're DC, like, think about it this way. Tom Taylor, Nightwing, duh. He's a license to print money. And if you can lock that down, do it.
Yeah. Why
So
not?
here's the other thing. This is where Cody was coming from.
Right.
And I don't necessarily disagree with this, but his point was it's bad for the industry because it locks this creator in at one company for however many years.
Right.
And we don't know the details of his contract. Can he still work on Seven Secrets or any other independent project he wanted to? We don't know. Sometimes these contracts allow for that sort of thing and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But basically the argument was that locking him into DC robs us of his creativity elsewhere. And I mean, this of course would be true of anyone in an exclusive contract, and there's truth to that.
Do we
But
know?
I mean, dude, get paid. He's making bank over there. He clearly has a good relationship with DC. And again, it's not like he's writing a bunch of crap comics.
Right.
Tom Taylor comes out with something, you can read it.
Right.
Well,
I mean, it could be like a Marvel and Donny Cates situation. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I don't think Cates is exclusive with Marvel,
but then again, I mean, they really don't advertise comic contracts. It's not like,
Well, I mean, they're rare enough anymore that they typically do make the news rounds when they happen.
No, they make the news, but I'm talking about the specs of the
comic. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Years and millions. It's not like we're talking about like, Zach LaVine or something like that. Getting extended by the mighty Chicago Bulls. They're going to win the championship this year.
Are they?
Can I at least have the first round?
Yes.
Can we go to the first round?
Yes, I'll definitely give you that. They are going to get so much further than my poor pathetic Thunder, who are 7-16 right now.
The Thunder, is that's a basketball team?
It is in fact a basketball team. It's God, that was cold-blooded. I mean,
not like the show is live.
It's not like the show is live. But wow. That was hard. That was cold-blooded, Mike.
Hey, we got one of our viewers back after my basketball joke.
These nerds are talking about sports. Maybe I should tune back in. Who knows what they'll talk about next? Ballet, Broadway, movies, singer-songwriters from the 60s, Greenwich scene, anything. So it's a thing. And Tom Taylor, our best is off to you, man. You've earned it. Get paid, dude. I don't listen to haters. So moving on, other big news. This one, of course, Destiny of X. We started getting a lot more speculation on or not just speculation, I should say, but confirmation of what the X-Men line over at Marvel is going to look like post Jonathan Hickman. So we got a full lineup of titles. I want to say there's 8 or 9 of them. It's like Wolverine, X-Men. Those are a given. Yeah.
We got the Immortal X-Men,
which revealed today. Kieran Gillen is writing that one, and
Lucas Wernick on art.
Who?
Lucas Wernick.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's drawing Kyle and Magneto right now.
Yeah. So we got the Immortal X-Men. We have
X-Men Red,
which
is not written by Tom Taylor.
Tommy T is not doing that one.
No, he confirmed that on Twitter. So poo-poo on you if you think that, and poo-poo on all of us for dashing his dreams of DC exclusivity with
it could be. Who knows?
Greedy thoughts of wanting him back for more X-Men Red.
I mean, the Illuminati has done different things before, so maybe Tom Taylor is still going to write X-Men. He just wants you to think he's not going to write X-Men.
Yes. Absolutely. He's going to write under a pseudonym.
Exactly. Moving on. So we have Legion of X, Knights of X.
Legion of X is the follow-up to Spurrier's follow-up to Way of X, which was sadly only 5 issues, and the weirdly titled Onslaught Revelation one-shot.
Yeah.
And it was magnificent.
And then we got smaller titles. Looks like we got Sabretooth Mini coming up.
New Mutants continues with Vita Ayala, of course. Forgot about that.
One day, the Mortal X-Men. We got X-Men Red, Legion of X, and of course the other ones. Like got like Wolverine, and we got the rest of them that are out. But it is wrapping up Hickman's phase 1 of Krakoa, and the magical land of Oz, which should be good. I mean, I like Hickman, and I've actually. This is actually revived for me, getting, reading more X titles. And
absolutely.
So, and I'm a huge Gillen fan. So I'm, right off the bat, I'm gonna check out Mortal X-Men and stuff.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I wasn't a super fan of his last tenure with the X-Men. I just thought it kind of fell flat. Yeah. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was just kind of there. And then everybody starts raving about Wicked and the Divine. So I picked up the first volume of it finally, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I was like, okay, this is all right. And I don't know, I just have never felt compelled to buy more. I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, Gillen does not click with me. And then of course, we've got Lives of Wolverine and Deaths of Wolverine.
Yes.
Masterminded by Benjamin Piercy. Oh, X-Force is continuing under Percy.
X-Force Marauders.
We totally spaced on that one, which how could we space on the fruit of the Rob Father's loins 30 years later?
It's a big fruit.
X-Force. It's a huge fruit.
It's huge fruit with pouches.
It's like one of those county fair pumpkins, watermelons. That's a berry. But this is a weird one. So they're kind of positioning the Death and Lives of Wolverine thing in the same category as Hawk's Pox was, as the thing that's going to get the narrative ball rolling for this second Krakoa era. Which is really weird considering it appears to be all about Wolverine.
Yeah.
Well, I don't quite get that. But here's the thing. Yeah. I totally trust Benjamin Percy. That dude has earned my trust on both Wolverine and X-Force and a number of other titles. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm here for it regardless of what
I think his run is definitely going to be one of those runs that when you talk about the character, you're going to bring up, the Percy era. I think officially we can call it the Percy era. It's like with Venom, it has the Cates era, So I'm and I don't know. I could be biased because I like Percy's books and I like what he does with comics and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I think what he's like.
Marauders. That's the one we forgot. Steve Orlando, our friend of the show, Steve Orlando, is taking over Marauders. Shame on me for
Marauders.
Yes, shame on me for forgetting that. His tenure starts, I believe, in an annual that ships towards the end of this month or somewhere in January. But yeah,
Marauders is a good book. I like Marauders.
Yeah, and then Jerry Duggan will continue writing adjectiveless X-Men. So yeah, Marauders has been standout, and I mean, really, I've been one of those people that's sort of been like, I like Duggan, but I don't love Duggan. I mean, if he's writing it, I'll read it, but I'm not going to actively seek it out. But his Marauders stuff is awesome.
Yeah,
and it's really, really turned my page as a reader on him and his skills as a writer.
Yeah, so I definitely ate crow on Marauders, just because I was like, great, another X title, the X of the Seven Seas, X Pirates.
Yo ho ho!
Right? Yeah, like I didn't spend enough time at sea, so let me read it in my comics. But yeah, I thought.
Yes, Navy humor, everybody.
I'm here. Yeah. We're down to one viewer right now, so I got to stop the corny jokes. No one's gonna watch this. But yeah, no, I think Marauders is really good, and that was definitely the standout title for me when they relaunched, Krakoa and the Hawk's Pox.
Yeah,
the Hickman era, if you will. But yeah, no, I totally dig it. I'm totally here for some of the newer X titles. Gonna do like I normally do. Talk shit on the X titles and the 80 issue miniseries they're gonna do this summer.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll buy it because I'm gullible and I just like eating X crow, I guess you can say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I guess our next topic
Yeah.
is let's talk about the Hawkeye Show.
Ooh.
And that's officially what we're going to call it, is the Hawkeye Show, as though
Yes.
it were a 1960s sitcom. The
Dun,
Hawkeye
dun,
Show.
dun, 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 dun. With like a little house cardigan you can take off and stuff like that. Sit down on the easy chair.
starring the dad from my three sons as Hawkeye.
Here's your.
Oh my gosh, this show. Now look, today it's Wednesday. We got a 4th episode that dropped today. A lot of folks, myself included, haven't seen it yet, so we're not going to get into that episode. You're not going to get an episode, Mike.
Okay.
Spoil it, because I know you watched it, and I just haven't had time yet.
No, that's good. I'm glad you said that we won't be talking about 4.
Yes, we'll not be talking about 4.
Okay.
Let's just 1 through 3. We're halfway through the show. Most people by now have seen it. If you're not current through the first 3 episodes of Hawkeye, sorry, spoiler warning on. We're talking about it. This show is kicking ass.
It is.
In a lot of major ways. I am going to put it out there that if they can thread the narrative needle and get all 6 episodes in a nice, neat little bow, this will wind up being the best of the MCU shows on D+.
Oh, easily. Not. I mean, for me right now, it's already in the front running as my favorite, as the best one. I really, and I know folks have their own opinion on Jeremy Renner, be it.
I love Jeremy Renner. Leave Jeremy Renner alone. It's not Jeremy Renner's fault that Hawkeye traditionally gets shafted. Pardon the wordplay.
But no, I think his portrayal of Hawkeye, even in the movies, was really cool. But this kind of takes that character into like a new setting, a new universe. Puts him at the front of the table, puts him at head of the table, and he's playing it well, you know. And I love the nods that they're not trying to do page for page from, you know, the Fraction books and stuff like that, but they're just putting like little neat Easter eggs and little cool nods, especially in 4, which I already have asterisks by the stuff in 4, so I'm not going to talk about it. But 4 has some really cool stuff in there. We can't talk about that. But no, I think overall 1 through 3, and especially with the tracksuit mafia. Who doesn't love the tracksuit mafia?
Listen, bro.
Yes,
I'm a little sad that they're not referring to them as the tracksuit Draculas.
Yeah,
which is way funnier. But tracksuit mafia is still really great.
Yeah, the tracksuit mafia is awesome.
This show is working because, one, it really is, at least further through the first half, following a really definitive story arc. Like we can get the narrative. The narrative flow is working. I cannot say that about Loki, and it's a little up and down throughout Cap and Winter Soldier.
See, I didn't. Cap and Winter Soldier for me was rough. It was
really. I didn't
dislike
it, but I was like, if you sanded some of these rougher edges off, it could have been better. Like it's still to me, it's still like an A-, B+ range, but it just lacked that little bit of polish that it needed to get it over the hump. Hawkeye has that polish. And the number one thing I'm liking about it is how character driven it is, but also balanced by how fun it is.
Yeah.
I mean, right there in that first episode, Hawkeye is clearly dealing with survivor's guilt.
And
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say that's just not a layer or level that we've seen from this character so far.
Right. Yeah. And as the series is progressing, you dig a little deeper into that. But that's where I'm going to stop.
Okay.
And it just they're adding more layers. And to go back to what you talked about, that polish that maybe Winter Soldier didn't really have a whole lot of, and maybe WandaVision, you know, those first, even though, you know, the older crowd probably got the sitcom jokes, was kind of rough.
It was those first 3 episodes. They probably should have done all that in 2 episodes.
Possibly,
honestly.
yeah.
I think they dragged that mystery out a little longer, and then for whatever reason, episodes 7 and 8 of WandaVision really just kind of lost all of the cool meta stuff and the just quirkiness, and it was like, okay, fuck it, let's fight.
Right.
Let's do magic crazy stuff. And I mean, it was well done, but it didn't fit with what we'd seen in the previous 7 episodes.
No, yeah, absolutely.
And I loved WandaVision. Don't get me wrong.
WandaVision's great.
I'm not going to dunk on any of these Marvel MCU shows, frankly. And that's not even getting into what if yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And the EU, this little mini expanded universe that we're seeing, overall is a great idea. It's been super fun. But one of the things I really adore about the writing of Hawkeye is, for the first time, and of course, just me saying this, but these characters, we have characters that we can grab onto. We have characters that we can kind of almost, we want to know more of their plight and their pain and stuff like that, especially when Kate starts hanging around Clint more, and they kind of, you start to see that that Hawkeye and Kate Bishop friendship start to kind of happen, if you will. And it's really a mentor-mentee relationship. Yeah.
In a way that feels real. Like, I know a lot of people were worried when character descriptions of Kate Bishop started coming out, and like, oh, she's a stand for Hawkeye, and everyone was all like, boo, that's not our Kate Bishop at all. She's her own woman.
Right.
And I think everyone's concern was she's just kind of going to be this fawning fangirl with no real motive of her own.
Right.
And that's definitely proven to be false.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's not one part. I mean, for me, from scene 1 of her first, for the first episode, even up till 4, especially in 4, you get that strong character. I don't, not once do I get the sense that they're weakening Kate's story, or they're making her fawning over Hawkeye and stuff. Now, there is parts where she's, she kind of takes a couple breaths of like, hey, I'm working with an Avenger. Oh my God.
Yeah, but I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, Hawkeye, runs on my stoop. I'm not going to be sitting there like, oh, hey, dude, what's up, bro?
You're
an Avenger.
Like, oh my God, she's the surrogate for the audience, right? Sure. Like, how many kids don't dream about running around and having an adventure with their hero, right?
All of them do.
Of course, that's a perfectly natural reaction. So, I mean, yeah, this whole haterade towards her is just like, whatever. Yeah. Or this initial conceit, it's proven to be false. But this is a show that's not afraid to have fun.
No, it's not.
In episode 3, the bit with the arrow and the PEM particles,
was
brilliant. I died when I saw that.
Yep, that was such a cool. And I was on the couch. I was poking at my wife, like, "Hey, you see? He has the PEM arrow. He's using the PEM arrows." And he's like, "Just shoot it up, And it was just a great part. And it was like, wow, that's And there's just
it's clever, but that's awesome.
Yeah, and it doesn't overdo it with trying to spoon feed, the panels from the books. Like it or not, and we're probably going to lose our one viewer after I say this, but these movies, these shows, they're not made for us. They're made for the audience. We can sit here, and as we will, with our characters that we quote unquote love to own, and kind of take ownership with, and kind of moan and groan when they're not depicted as we would love them to be. But and we almost kind of accidental gatekeep without gatekeeping,
without meaning to. Yeah, there's truth to that.
Yeah, but I'm not saying
people forget. People that are complaining about Kate Bishop, and though they seem to forget that in the original Young Avengers miniseries, when she debuted, she just magically came out of nowhere with no explanation, knowing how to do all this cool shit with the bow and arrow.
Right.
So I don't want to hear about the purity of Kate Bishop's origin.
There goes our one viewer.
No, fuck these guys. Don't get on. But no, Haley Stenfield is awesome. I don't know. She's obviously an up and coming actress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this show is great. And we haven't even talked about Echo, and we certainly haven't talked about all of the big hints that a rather rotund, bald-headed mafia boss type villain character is looming in the background.
It has to be. I mean, this isn't like
you said that about Mephisto, and it wasn't. But
I'm gonna start blaming Mysterio for all this shit.
Listen,
if Kingpin doesn't show up.
They're making it really hard for me to not say, no, Kingpin isn't coming.
Yeah.
At the end of he's the man up top. He's uncle to
has to be uncle.
Yeah,
has to be uncle.
Absolutely.
Has to be.
And plus, I mean, Kevin Feige said yesterday, the day before, yes, we've got Charlie Cox on lock to be Daredevil again. They just, no details when, but
yeah,
if Kingpin is here, Daredevil will not be far behind. And
well, he's also he's I can't remember his real name, but he's in No Way Home. So that scene, that Easter egg scene that was leaked was confirmed.
Oh, really?
The kitchen scene? Yeah, the kitchen scene where they're all sitting at the table.
Really? I did not know that.
Research it again, but I'm telling you, from what I read it on Comic Watch. No, that's not us. Never mind.
Well, anyway, I'm sure in another 3 weeks we'll circle back around to Hawkeye and however our brains have been blown. And by that time we'll have the latest entry in the film MCU in out in the world with Spider-Man No Way Home. So
which I think a lot of people are going to be I don't think it's going to be advertised as what it is.
True.
But that's for another.
So, last little bit of news, and this is sad. George Perez, legendary artist without peer, Gentleman George himself, announced yesterday that he has stage 3 pancreatic cancer and only between 6 and 12 months left. Obviously, this is crushing news. He retired almost 3 years ago from public life due to some ongoing health issues that he really didn't disclose. But he's kind of fought off and on for probably the last 25-ish years with various health issues.
Yeah.
I know that back when the original Infinity Gauntlet was being published, that his health concerns was why he couldn't finish that series. Yeah, he didn't quite finish issue 5. And then wasn't able to do any for issue 6. And then he just kind of disappeared from comics for the most part until he joined Busiek on Avengers in 98, which, I mean, other than an oddball thing here and there. But so he's had some issues for a while, and he's a big dude.
Yes.
So it's health issues are not to be we shouldn't be surprised by the fact that something is going on, but just the fact that he comes out of nowhere and says, "Hey guys, sorry, but this is really the end," is just heartbreaking. And the outpouring of love from fellow pros and fans has just been really, really awe-inspiring. Especially when you consider this guy's been drawing comics professionally for almost 50 years. And just the body of work that he produced is pretty well unmatched. I mean,
absolutely. I mean,
talk about superhero comics. There's really only 3 artists that matter, and that's Jack Kirby, George Perez, and Neil Adams.
Yep.
And I mean, everyone else is
playing
everything else.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. I think you bring up a great point. I mean, he's been doing this for so long, and how many iconic covers did he do? Whether he drew, whether he inked, he's been a part of some great runs, some iconic runs, great stories. His collect, my collected stuff for Wonder Woman and his is what I hand people. That's one of those, we always talk about, what was your recommend comics, your must read, and it's always George Perez's Wonder Woman, because
it's just beautiful.
It is. It never gets old. It reads like it's brand new. Every single word, every single panel, it's like it's brand new again. And you're a tiny kid, and however old you were when you discovered George Perez, and you're re-looking through these books again, and it's just great because all those feelings come back when you see those characters. And I tweeted out a cover of Teen Titans, and I just like to look at that one because it's just, you got the Titans are running at you. That is just how that is the fiction of superheroes and how badass they can be and stuff like that. And it's
not even just badass, but there's something just perfect in the distillation of the heroes themselves, the intense amount of detail that's never overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
Just George has it all, and there's a reason why he's regarded as highly as he is in the industry, not just for his art, but for just what a wonderfully kind human being he is. You might not have seen this story, but our fellow reviewer over there at Comic Watch, Joe Flood, he's a huge Perez fan, and he's always talking about George Perez on Facebook. And a lot of people don't know this, but Joe was actually a little bit of an indie artist himself in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He drew an underground comic called, wait for it, because I love this, especially because it was the 80s, Super Gay Comics. The publisher of this comic, whoever is published by, somehow or another knew George Perez and got him to ink Joe's pencils in that comic.
Stop.
Seriously, go look on his Facebook. And just like, you didn't have to do that. This is the mid 80s, this is the height of the Titans era. He's drawing Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths. But he did. And one of the things that he said in his farewell was he wants to do one more public appearance, with the caveat that he gets to take a picture with every single person in line with him that comes for an autograph. And he wants to do that for his fans. And God, what an amazing human being.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. It's weird because now, and to each their own. When you meet any creator at a convention, at a show, what have you, in an airport terminal. But and some are kind of off-putting. Some don't want to talk about stuff. And like I said, totally their prerogative. I don't hold that against them. But George Perez was one of those people that, like you said, he's going to shake every hand. He's signing every book. He's taking every picture. And it's just an overall sweet dude.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be a lot poorer without him.
Oh, I don't even.
Yeah, the news is just completely devastating.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Thank you, George Perez, for everything you've given to comics and to your fans over the decades. We're with you till the end. So with that, maybe we should have closed with that. Like, it's hard to just abruptly switch tones now. It's like, let's talk about this comic with a ghoul monster from space. But I guess we're going to do it. Well, we are, because Al Ewing, Ram V, Bryan Hitch, Venom numbers 1 and 2. Woo! Yes. Bring in the fire.
Hot.
So you are the resident Venomaniac. Mike, I think you own multiple copies of the Venomnibus. And Venomnibus floppies and trades. But man, I gotta say, before we even get into how great these first 2 issues are, we got to talk about the massively huge shoes that these creators are stepping in to try to fill.
Huge.
because Donny Cates' run on Venom was,
The
in
business.
every sense of the term, a game changer.
Yep. On massive levels, on every level that is Venom, that is the symbiotes, that is Eddie Brock. You know, I mean, at the height of that run, as far as ongoing series, you know, I challenge folks to tell me what was a better run. You know, maybe top 3. You know,
No,
but
there's never been a better Venom run.
no, I'm saying, but at the height, I'm saying at the current, you know, the current run of Superman, you know, what's on the shelf.
Oh, comparatively to
Right.
what's out now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. I that all jacked up. But no, I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. The shoes, I mean, you know, Cates redid and pretty much broke Venom down, crumbled him. He's in a pile, and by pieces and brick and mortar and symbiote goo and all that good stuff, rebuilt an iconic character, you know, and it could have gone wrong. And there was a couple issues in his run, you know, that were just like regular, and you're going, what do we do with this? You know, because nothing really happened. It was just kind of it was a setup, but it wasn't a clear-cut setup, you know.
Well, there were several points in there where, I mean, you're legitimately wondering, where is he going to take this story from here?
Right.
I don't know. That's probably one of the best things about the Cates run, is the way that he's reinventing the wheel. There are cliffhangers where I have no clue how he's going to get Eddie Brock out of this, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't think it's unfair or disingenuous to compare Cates' Venom run to Frank Miller on Daredevil,
No.
in that he utterly and completely changed how we view the character.
Yep. Forevermore,
right?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Like, look, there's Stan Lee did not invent Daredevil. Frank Miller invented Daredevil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that level
Yeah.
of rethink, because
Right.
he just exploded the mythos and of what the symbiotes are, and created this whole lore and backstory, and Null, the King in Black, and just what exactly it means to have all of these symbiotes out there. And at the end of the day, spoiler alert, I guess, for a 3 or 4 month old Venom comic now from the final issue of Cates' run, Eddie Brock is now basically the god of the symbiotes and controls them remotely and can commune with them. And I mean, tell me if I'm getting this wrong, Mike.
No,
and his previously unknown son, Dylan, has the original, the OG symbiote, and he's running around doing Venom stuff,
which is
chains on his wrist.
Yeah.
and so it's into this entirely new, where on earth do we go from here narrative. Well, that Cates and Ewing, who, let's get real, are two of the brainiest writers in comics today.
Oh, yeah, they can get deep if they can get real.
Oh no, these are intelligent writers.
No.
These guys are not playing to the cheap seats. And I love them both for that so much.
Yeah,
but it's like, okay, we're going to put the intellects in charge of the bad guy Venom now. Well, no, we've kind of sort of moved way past that. Way past that. If you're sitting at home, yes. If you're sitting at home, wringing your hands, is like, Venom is supposed to be Spider-Man's arch nemesis. Bleh. Get over it.
Yeah.
Characters grow and change. And here's the thing. The original conceit of Venom is great.
Right.
There's a reason the character latched on like he did, but it's also inherently kind of limited. You know? There's really only so much you can do and so far you can take he's the evil Spider-Man, right?
True. Yeah.
That's why they spun him off in Lethal Protector and made him an anti-hero, right?
Right. Now,
So, okay, well, we're just now, instead of being the evil Spider-Man, he's going to be the darker, more badass Spider-Man.
right.
And eventually that petered out too, because the 90s were closing down.
No more foil covers.
No more foil covers. And then they don't know what to do with Venom for like the longest time, right?
It got rough.
It got weird.
It
Like
got weird and rough.
in the like Mark Miller wrote Eddie Brock watching Passion of the Christ and and having like finding Jesus and auctioning off the symbiote.
Yeah.
How Matt Gargan, the Scorpion, winds up with them.
Yeah. The Gargan stuff, I was like, really, we're gonna do this? But out of all the weird eras, I would say Way is probably my favorite out of the weird stuff. When you're reading it and you're going, really? Okay, we're stuck in Antarctica and with a bunch
I
of
haven't actually read any of that.
It's okay. Yeah, it's fun.
Like for a while, I loved this idea though of Mac Gargan having less control over the symbiote because he's an inherently weaker-willed person than Eddie Brock. So the result winds up being a far more monstrous iteration of Venom that's like biting dudes' arms off and stuff.
Right.
And that's fun for a while. And then weirdly, Flash Thompson got the symbiote, and it gave him legs. And he was Venom Space Knight for a minute or something.
Space Knight was I like Space Knight. Space Knight was okay.
I never read it because it looked weird AF.
No, it is.
I was kind of like, it's such an abrupt shift, right? That you're just kind of like, what? How? Who? Venom? This isn't Venom, right? It was in terms of storytelling, it was an inorganic shift in the narrative. Because it comes out of nowhere with very little explanation. It's like the government says, Matt Gargan, you're not allowed to have this symbiote anymore. We're going to give it to Flash Thompson, and he's going to be Venom for the United States of America. And
it worked.
Tough. And I mean, I think Rick Remender wrote that run. Or I might be thinking of somebody else, but
you talk about the first Agent Venom stuff?
Yeah.
I think it is Remender. I think
it's Remender when he was kind of just getting started at Marvel. And I know that run has its fans. And I've heard good things about it, but I've never actually read it.
Yeah,
it's Remender. It's still in that cycle of Marvel not knowing what the hell to do with Venom.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. When Cates came along, you know, we didn't have Dylan and stuff like that. You know, we didn't have Null.
They had really just, correct me if I'm wrong, it had just been in the previous volume that they finally got Eddie Brock back with the symbiote, right? I think Mike Costa wrote that run. And I don't think very many people were paying attention.
No, because it was flat. Venom was flat pre-Cates, you know? Pre-Cates was flat. So when he came
kind of spinning wheels and wondering you know, what do we do with Venom? And then, you know, Cates, rising star, he just wrote God Country, which is pound for pound one of the best comics of the last decade.
Well, you can't forget his horror comic real quick. For Image.
Redneck.
Redneck, thank you.
With vampires. Yeah, for sure. And you know, shoot, Marvel clearly said, do what you want with this guy.
And he did.
Name, run wild, and boy did he. And that's what gets us to the current volume. So I mean, Mike, what are your feelings on the first two issues of Venom so far?
Fun, really fun. Was kind of, I want to say hesitant, but I really wanted to go in kind of like with like a clean slate, because you knew their stuff has to change, you know, like, you know,
has to keep moving the narrative forward.
Right. Like, you know, Eddie can't be the King of Black forever, you know. Dylan is not going to be Venom forever. And then, but the cool thing is I kind of like what they're doing with Carnage and Arthur Crane. That's the son. Yes,
I don't
Arthur.
know who that is. Is
Um,
that something that came out of the Extreme Carnage
yes,
thing that had a series of one shots that just kind of wrapped up?
right.
See, I'm not.
Like, yeah, I don't. It's a
I'm
quick.
not. I'm not into that. I know that the bookend issues were written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, which was interesting
Yeah,
because he's such a good writer.
Phil Kennedy
Um,
Johnson,
but yeah, I don't know anything about this Arthur Crane business.
so basically, his dad is I can't remember, but yeah, I can't remember the dad's first name. But either way, politician that wants to. We're post King of Black, we're post all that stuff. So the symbiotes are kind of running wild, or they're running wild. So basically, there's a lot of flaming of, to save America and the citizens, we got to round up the symbiotes, yada yada yada. No more King of Black type stuff. So,
Okay.
Semi long story short, Carnage finds a way because he can still control the symbiote kind of through, because he still has that power from Null, so he can still control it in the hive mind. So he takes over Arthur Crane. So now this politician's kid is walking around with the Carnage symbiote in him, but he's kind of keeping it under control, which is spooky in itself. So Dylan is now on the lam with Crane and all those Goonies and stuff like that. Now, the cool thing is, what I think what Ram V has done so far, and I really enjoy his writing when he does this, is he kind of leaves it open for speculation without kind of, once again, like forcing it, or kind of being like really neat with a trope or something like, oh, what are we going to do next issue? Tune in. But instead,
that first issue had one hell of a cliffhanger. There's fairly definitive badness happening there.
Yeah.
I don't know how a non-fireproof symbiote is going to get out of.
Yeah. But the cool thing is about 2 that I like is you get that speculation. Okay, so like I said, Dylan's not. You kind of sense that Dylan, there's some anger issues there that I don't think is going to meld with Venom. So I think we might have, not the, pun intended, we might have some separation anxiety. That was pretty good. Anyway, so I think there's possibly some ground for that, but I really enjoy the fact that the first issue went 150 miles an hour, but the second issue slowed it down, got you, to think a little bit, and really played with the characters, even the supporting characters. We got
that cat.
Sleep so good. He's awesome. I love him. I love that dude. Or she could be a symbiote. I don't know. Them, they, But no, this is really good. It's off to a great start so far. Alex Sinclair, Andrew Curry, Ram V. I think Clayton Cowles is doing letters. He does letters for all the comics on the shelves. I swear to God, he does.
Bryan Hitch.
Yeah, and Bryan Hitch. Yeah, it's such a fun start to this book, and I'm wondering, because they have to up something with Kate's, because Kate's, we got 2 brand new characters that are going to be around for a long time, and Dylan and Null. Really happy that they really built up on Dylan and stuff.
Yeah, and it would have been, it would have been tempting for a successive writer to come in and say, okay, Kate's took this thing all out in like crazy territory. Now let's go back to basics, and it's just one man and his symbiote. Oh, that would have been so tedious, right?
Right.
But no, that's not what happened. Ram V and Al Ewing have just picked up the baton, and they're not just running with it; they're sprinting with it.
In a big way.
And I like the fact that they're treating the readers with some intelligence. And they're not sugarcoating any of this. If you didn't, they're assuming that you read Kate's run. If you're reading this run, this is not a run for newbies. If you are, I'm almost a little envious of you in that you get to go back and read the Kate's run for the first time to really make heads or tails out of this. But yeah, if you're coming into this and your only understanding of Venom is from like 20, 25, 30 years ago, you're going to be lost.
Yeah, this is not your dad's Venom.
No, it's not.
Not your
But
dad's
that's kind of what I'm saying by Donny Cates' run was so revolutionary for how we understand Venom.
right. Well,
Like
because
you really cannot go back from this, at least not with any credibility.
no. I mean, you would totally break the character because, he took Eddie Brock and made Eddie Brock a solid character.
Yeah.
And then he went and took the symbiote Venom and made it a solid character. Then he went and he was bringing in, he brought in Flash. He brought back, Anne. He brought, the other symbiotes, and it's no longer, when you think of Venom, when we were kids and stuff, it's like you said, oh, it's a pissed off Spider-Man. Ho hum hum ho. But it's not
ho 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 hum. It was cool, but we were like teenagers, young teenagers. Yeah.
And everything was foil and
like that he looks cool.
Hologram on it. We didn't know
that. Absolutely.
But the thing is, it's like one of the viewers said, Venom is in good hands. And I really believe that because even if you can talk about Ram's, Swamp Thing, which is magnificent. But I think that Venom is a proper, should be labeled a horror comic now.
Yeah.
Because especially with Kate's run with the King of Black miniseries, with with the Carnage minis and stuff like that. I mean, this is new.
Oh, Absolute Carnage. The first issue of that is straight up a horror comic. And it was a damn good one.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a great time, and I say this all the time, but it's a really fun time to be a Venom, to be a symbiote fan. You don't even have to, and it's great because you can just be happy reading about Venom and Carnage and certain symbiotes and stuff where you don't have to grab Spider-Man, you don't have to grab other books as it was used to be. Like, oh, you like Carnage? Oh, well, he's in this Spider-Man issue, and then if you go 13 issues back, he's in that Venom issue. We're finally getting proper issues, proper miniseries to where you can make these characters fun, and it's just not some dude in a black, leotard, with a big long tongue and fangs. You know what I'm saying? Sounds like a kid movie on Shudder, but but yeah, no, they're really ramped up. I am so excited to see if, are we going to get a new character? What are they going to
I hope they don't bring any new symbiote characters in, because right now Marvel's kind of rotten with other symbiote characters.
Yeah, because right now we got I think all 8 are, is it 8? Or is it 6? Either way. They're all there. We haven't got a new symbiote. Like you said, I think if we get a new symbiote, that would be kind of meh. But I think something is going to happen when I really think that Carnage and Venom at some point are going to separate from Crane and from Dylan Brock, and something is going to happen where I think.
Well, they said, okay, so help me out.
Yeah,
all of the Extreme Carnage stuff didn't just happen in isolation. You feel like it's definitely going to play out in this series at some point.
Yes. Okay. Especially because there's for me, it's reminded the whole Crane storyline is very, very X-Men-ish.
Okay.
And I say that as a homage. I don't say that as a bad thing. I get that, that, the world against the mutants, and not all mutants are bad, but there are some bad mutants. And I think we're going to see possibly some of the symbiotes kind of come out and start to take sides.
Yeah.
I think that's going to open up. I would not be surprised summertime to have their first big mini series.
Kind of big.
Yeah.
End of the first arc. So
yeah.
And so I get the impression Ram V, Al Ewing, they'll probably be on this book for a while. They both tend to be long haulers on the books and projects that they write. Bryan Hitch, though, I mean, he's like an A-list artist, can't
Ooh.
be cheap. The last big ongoing thing that he did was Hawkman, and he's only on the first 12 issues of that. Does Marvel what do you think is Marvel's expiration date with Hitch? Does he draw the first arc and then he's out? Or do you think it goes longer?
He could pop in from time to time, like because I think like Stegman did every now and then with their run. Jesus Birdolph was off and on some
Well,
issues.
because I hate this trend in modern comics that they'll sell you on a creative team for a new volume of whatever.
Yeah.
And then the artist bails after the first arc.
Mm-hmm. Sucks. That's horrible.
It's Lucy with the football.
Yeah.
And I really I get it. This is Venom. Bryan Hitch won't be on it forever.
Right.
But please do, please Marvel, give us more than 4 or 6 issues.
Well, I think with and going back to Kate's and what they did with their section of the story, I think Marvel knows now, that this is no longer, like we said, this isn't your dad's Venom.
This isn't some weird little outlier.
Right. And the cool thing is about that is I think it was right when issue 200 came out, Donnie Cates had said something. It could have been Stegman. One of those two guys said that they had planned, the King in Black and all those minis when they pitched the Venom run. So they had all that stuff planned out. And so I'm going back slowly, but in rereading that whole run with the knowledge that King of Black is going to happen, this and that. And there's like little things, little nuances.
Little breadcrumbs.
Yeah, like, oh, this makes way more sense. Or maybe you look into a panel and you're going, oh, I didn't see, the bat symbiotes coming that are all in the hive mind and stuff like that. So, okay, so that makes, this panel makes more. So it's fun like that. And I have zero belief that, Rams and Ewing's run shouldn't be as fun. I look for them to introduce either a new character or do what Kate's did, bring back bring back Anne Waring and something like that. I don't know. I don't know if we need to see Anne again.
I don't think we do, because the name of the game in this volume so far is continuing to push the narrative forward from where Kate's left it.
Right.
Like, what's the next step in the natural evolution of this character in the way that he's been reimagined?
Right.
And that's exciting to me, because just like I was talking about with the best stuff of the Kate's run, it leaves me with this feeling at the end of each issue, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Because I just don't know.
Right. And
that's the hallmark of great writing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because even in the more tame issues where maybe it's just like, you're playing catch up or, stuff like that, you still leave that and you're going, that was still good.
Yeah.
No one got their head bit off and no one got beat with a severed limb, but that was pretty good, Yeah. And I just, this is exciting.
It totally is. So, yeah, buy Venom because it's incredible. And you should always be in the market to read new and better comics.
Yeah. And one is going, I think, the second print. I think one is actually getting a second print already.
Cool. I'm down with that.
Yeah. So I'm happy for Ram and Company for that. It's pretty rad.
Yeah, most definitely. And they deserve it. These are really talented, smart writers. They get their accolades, but they don't always necessarily get the audience that they deserve. Right. So I'm glad that people are standing up and taking notice of this.
Yeah.
So, well, with that, that is the end of our time this week. Mike Akins, thank you so much for hanging out and doing this. I missed you the last couple weeks.
I missed being
Cody's all right, but it's never the same without you.
Well, Cody does have the better hair, so I gotta get him in the chair every now and then. So
okay, I feel you. Next week, we don't know, but I feel like it could be holiday hootenanny for Christmas.
Not a holiday hootenanny.
Yes, we did Halloween Hootenanny, and now we could possibly, very possibly, do a holiday Hootenanny.
There you go.
You never know what could happen on the Comic Watchers show. But until then, we'll see you same time, same day next week. I'm Matt. This is Mike. We're the Comic Watchers. For all your comic news and pro reviews, check out comic-watch.com. We're all volunteers over there. We're super proud of the work we're doing in the community we're building. And it's all about love, and it's all about giving back to the comics community that's given us so much over the years. Absolutely. So until next time, read something cool, support your local comic shop, and above all, be good to each other. Thank you so much.